The machine's keyboard is still illuminated, revealing the speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. An old lady greets you. Her voice sounds 100 years old.
Good evening. Votre accident on Saint-Brun. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log? Good. Please repeat the password. Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Votre accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Sleep well, votre accident.
The machine's keyboard is still. The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraphs. It looks a bit like someone's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February, 51, by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used the crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while. Our case? No, I don't think so. It must be some local eccentric.
6th of February, 51. Had a little chat with the local fishermen. Said I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It's a little spooky, all right. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See? Even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. 7th of February, 51. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking ESCA series, something advanced.
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
8th of February, 51. Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up. Called Simon for help. Heard the others are back to making art. Drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislav started a rock band again. Lexi has been seen asking money from strangers. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor. They can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. The programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just have to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup, when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know. Everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right.
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading. I think these people worked in the radio computer games business, the one we saw in the Doom commercial area. They must be our former co-workers.
12th of February, 51. Brought some food from the grocery store. Apparently, there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow, 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
25th of February, 51. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But I did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it the Swallow. it swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
28th of February, 51. Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them. No ripples. March 51. Some kind of young disco men have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music, one neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous, I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work. That disco man must be a cell.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
March 51. I got a call from the repeater station. Someone has tried to access the radio computer in our old office in Martinez. Can't do anything about it. The storekeeper still doesn't want to let me inside the building. Thinks I'm part of some kind of curse. How Martinez of her.
I knew it wasn't a good idea to meddle with that machine.
No, it was a great idea. You're learning things. This is how you learn things about machines. March 51, a new 2-meter aux cable, noodles, crackers, ping-pong energy drinks, water, toothpaste, gum, also some canned air. Your reading is interrupted by the sound of the church door opening. A strange man makes straight for the radio computer.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
Yes, you are breaking in, but not into her radio computer. You're a master circuit bender.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
There are no coalition military data links. And even if there was, you couldn't access them over a civilian network. That's nonsense. You're just a police officer. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
What is it? No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper. Yes. Or no. Not anymore. That project is dead.
She doesn't seem surprised to be recognized. Rather sad. Something passes over her face before she straightens her back.
I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages. If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
That still doesn't answer what she's doing in an abandoned church.
No. Yes. And I don't care. I don't care about crap men.
Wow, she really doesn't. Not afraid, this one.
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything. I use the AR-1 as my RAIM prefix processing unit. Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you? Then you'll certainly know that all radio computers perform operations on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna. I guess it is. So far I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's not the cheapest one on the market, so I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing.
She liked telling me this. It calmed her nerves.
I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core, the light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something. So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps. No, I don't. Because I needed something good for my investigation, and RAIM Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards, so I had to upgrade. Besides, owning a RAIM prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see REAM prefects in every police department, for example.
I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition. I was actually aiming for the military-grade RAIM Rational series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as RAIM Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off. But it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain. They are connected to my RAIM prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Great. You really like those questions, don't you? I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out. I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that. Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How How do you measure something that does not exist?
That's a little above your pay grade at the moment.
I don't know. Are we? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. But how do I figure it out? You measure it by its surroundings, by that which does exist, which is what I've been trying to do. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins.
Hydro transducers. So that's what those water basins are. Devices for recording sound through water.
But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark, most of the tower disappearing into the shade.
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place. I know. No, I don't. Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Great. Thanks. What? I hate it.
I bet she hasn't even heard it.
Yeah, like all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they? Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music. This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here. Take a guess, why don't you? I can't believe they got you so easily. Go have another talk with those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, will you? Thanks.
Good luck. I'm not coming in there.
The Swallow, you mean? Great. Thanks.
You see, a once bright neuron towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Looks like tomorrow never came.
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years. Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And a small layer of white salt from the sea.
No, I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad. Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
His hands lead the way when it comes to that. And his shoulders. It's reflex. A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Grim affairs. Meaning, this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days. The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be too much. We do need to retain some humanity in this world.
A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound. No movement. 10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner. Automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. Snowflakes fall on the wooden planks and the surrounding sand dunes. covering the land with the white of innocence. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed. A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. 7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one? The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces. It could even have been the employees of the failed R&D center down the coast, as their building was taken over by the revolutionaries.
Or maybe...
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was the commandant, the superior giving the orders.
A cold sea wind blows away the figures.
we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Oh no, it's all right. I'm just busy. What's this about? Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the A81. Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going. Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it. Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost.
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of phasmid. I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So, typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my, of any, cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long. Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition. Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course, but we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm.
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Yes. What? I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both. It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen. No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Interesting. Something for later, this close call.
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing.
Yes? All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it. You need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Willow people? Not at all.
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here. You probably have. Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow-drying paint. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow, dashing through the grove. I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
He makes it a real point here to sound falsifiable.
I'm guessing you heard about it from Lena. The kind green ape is one of her favourites.
A warm wave passes him. Of course, the kind green ape is her favourite, he thinks.
We travelled to South Safra to look for it once. Gary and I got stuck in a rainstorm though, and had to spend most of our time there in a little village. The search was fabulously unsuccessful, but the people were very nice. I'm glad they didn't understand what Gary was saying about them.
What? South Safra? They're just on a different rung of the ladder, Morale. I had no problem with them.
Really? You kept complaining about how dirty everything is, but we digress.
They're a nascent culture. I just didn't feel comfortable. And let's change the topic, okay? Talk about your critters, or whatever.
Formerly the most dangerous, yes. But do you know the most dangerous living cryptid? The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose. Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance. Human remains have been found deep in the forest, torn apart, then trampled into the mulch by large hooves. Infer from that what you will. Just like an ordinary ardent moose. You can't. That's what makes it so dreadful and hard to identify.
Of course you do.
The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. There's more. Sightings in Vasa, reaching back 4 centuries. But, of course, nothing satiates the skepticism of.
A detective. Pardon me, I did not wish to seek conflict. It's simply my training to question things.
Understood, Lieutenant. That's impressive, I guess. But have you seen it with your own eyes? I haven't had a chance to travel to Coco Nor. No. And I likely never will. The Samaskil desert region has been embroiled in a small civil war for the last 8 years. I fear this mindless barbarism may have wiped out the elusive creature entirely. Sightings of towering luminosities have grown rare recently, while they once used to be constant.
It remains unclear what this has got to do with you seeing it, as he was inquiring before. He was just being defensive.
Oh, everyone knows about that one, thanks to Professor Mijanu being the talk of the town for a time. Although, probably because her life ended as a result of her work in Gutler, no one remembers her contributions to the search for the Nong-Ok. A flightless cursor owl found in the Seminine Isles. Its long legs permit the Nong-Ok to run faster than any other avian, perhaps any other animal, who knows. When it's not hunting its prey in this manner, the Ok hangs from tree branches, like a bat, waiting to dive on hapless prey below on the jungle floor. Mijanu liked extreme animals, you see. One of the few figures of the academic establishment I respect. Really a shame she disappeared. Oh, decades ago. In the 30s. I didn't know her personally, of course. The chasm of academic pretension still stood before us, even though she had unusual courage for someone from the other side. No offense, officer, but I'm not much of a pedagogue. I don't know what I would have done if Lena hadn't persuaded me to go back to field research. You should ask her if you want interesting stories. Me? I'm not a people person, unless you haven't noticed. And I don't make a good lecturer. My strength lies in field work and persistence. By all means.
Hello, I'm Gary. How do you do, officer? Yellow man. I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man. That sounds awfully familiar. Something to keep in mind for later.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization. I like nature, just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
Degenerates? This man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
I've been tempted on occasion, but someone has to stay strong for Revacol.
He pronounces Revacol with a hard K, unlike other people.
I like to pronounce it the hard way, the old way, the Vespertine way.
He winks at you, trying to relay some hidden message, inviting you to mispronounce it too, perhaps. It's odd. It's a secret rite, a very fringe nationalist handshake, probably. Garbage. You're a true patriot, and you know how it's said. The Seren way, the fine way, with an elegant s.
Oh, so that's what the RCM in Martinez is about. Great. Great to hear someone's finally taking care of that.
So you do know something about it?
No. Nothing. He was some kind of mercenary. But everyone here knows that. I'm just glad to hear you're looking into it. That's all.
He didn't kill him or anything, but there's something going on here.
My mug? Why would you think that? How do you mean? Forgive me, officer, but we've only just met.
He is trying to avoid lying to you outright, in case you really have been to his apartment.
Okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer. You're not going to find me, are you? Whew. Thank you. You won't regret this. I won't use another man's property to dump my garbage ever again. I don't know what got into me, really. Work has been stressful lately. Damn Koiko's price dumping us out of competition.
What did you do, Gary?
Nothing. Just answering some questions. Helping out the law. I know a guy who works with the trash collection services, CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez. So I can use the Whirling's trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Chimeans run it like a mob. I'm sorry, okay? I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
Officer, please. Let me explain. It's not like that. I was only cleaning up. I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. people are animals, you know? Then I came out to clean up the rags because no one else would. I put them into the whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay, I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
Right. It was just civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty. Armor? No. I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing.
I hope I could help your investigation, in my small way.
Wait, does this mean you've been in his apartment, on Everart's behalf? That was his colonial mug collection. Perhaps this could soften him up further.
No. I help Morell with research sometimes, and I've learned some things along the way, but I don't usually go in for picnics like this on my own.
After all this time with Morell, he must have an opinion on cryptids. This could lead to a good one.
Oh, yes, the burning rhino. Morell doubts he's real, but I don't much care, because I won't be the one looking for him out in Safra Serai. A rhinoceros that looks ordinary during the day, but burns brightly by night. Well, at least the males do. They have special ducts just above their shoulder blades that secrete a combustible fluid. When the rhino is just beginning to light itself, it looks as though it has wings of fire. The flames are not just for decoration. They are an integral part of the beast's mating behavior. During the burning rhino's mating season, herds of male rhinos, all aflame, encircle herds of female rhinos, forming a fiery ring as they begin to copulate loudly. Local peasants call it the passion ring. They fear the rhinos, as perhaps they should. Anyway.
The lieutenant sighs, without looking up from his notes. It's clear the burning rhino is dear to him on many levels, some even spiritual.
Not many Sealites here, or anywhere, other than Sail. I meant no offense, truly.
Do you remember how, when we met Measurehead and I said the next races will be a really good one? Well, this is that racist.
Hey, man, all I meant was there are not many Sealites around here. I'm just stating a fact. No problem at all. Sure do, officer.
His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going.
How? Mr. Clare unlocked my apartment? So you work for Everard Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him. What have I done? He'll send the muscle after me. I was probably talking too loud in the whirling the other night about some theories. Stupid. Shouldn't have run my mouth loud like that. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
This scared him proper. He's positively melting from fear. Has to prop himself up with a lot of anger to keep it together.
The weather vane has turned. He cannot be unturned.
He clearly liked his squirming. He may even have changed his mind about the whole door-opening operation.
Hello, hello. What can I do for you, officer? No. No, of course not. Why? Well, he's been a little unenthusiastic about the trip. More so than usual. That's understandable. He just wants to get home and warm up.
He doesn't want to say it, but this is unusual. Gary's been to the jungle with him, to places way more challenging than the coast. Why so eager to go home?
Always a pleasure to... officers.
Hello, hello. By woman, you mean my wife, I assume? I will return to her, but I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
She's seen it?
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now. No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast, It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them... You should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? Is it?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
Put your hands where I can see them. Show me your hands. This is the pigs. Show me your hands. Right now! Show me your hands! Right now!
Scavenged, battery-powered police lights protrude from her back. The flickering light show reveals a gun in her shaking hand. Her hand is trembling from some sort of neurodegenerative disease.
Madame, please drop the firearm immediately.
This is bad. Getting your weapon back is the priority. We can't have an unhinged civilian running around with a gun.
Comply, or I will light you the fuck up! Failure to comply. Suspect is displaying aggression. Officer, under duress! Officer, under duress!
Her eyes bulge with terror. Veins protrude on her forehead.
I am the police. Don't move. Don't move. Hands on your head. Suspect is armed and dangerous. Lateral vascular neck restraint. Carotid sleeper. Carotid sleeper. Critically reducing blood from passing through the neck of the suspect.
Be careful, detective. Don't do anything that might set her off.
You'll have to go for the gun sooner or later. Perhaps you can learn crucial facts before you do. This is dangerous. You're 70% certain you always leave your gun loaded.
It's the goddamn police, shitbag! Hug the pavement! You're under arrest!
As she waves her hands, you notice familiar-looking ampoules and packets sticking out of the mountain of police gear on her back. Medicine or drugs?
Confiscated contraband! Restricted access! 2 kilos missing! Eyewitness report compromised!
I don't think she's on drugs. Being off drugs might actually be the problem here.
Back up! Back up! Back up! Status unconfirmed!
I do? Gareth? No,
Aggravated assault! Man down! Suspect on foot!
What's the situation, officer?
Law enforcement compromised! Impersonating a police officer!
Does she not believe you two are actually police officers?
License and registration! License and registration! Come in, dispatch! Sector! Sector! Azimuth!
It's not a code, just disjointed words.
Officer in need of assistance!
Ma'am, please. We want to help you, but you need to lower that weapon.
Disturbance reported. Authorized deadly force. Sector, take the shot! Big red key! Big red key!
Big red key? That's code for the battering ram. Cop talk. You know this. All right. This is how we do it. You hurl the tear bag in her face, already darting right, and immediately close the distance. Left hand grabs the barrel, right one breaks the wrist. No, that won't be necessary. Look closer. The gun, all 3 barrels, red and blue light shining through. It's not loaded.
Huh? My God, I think you're right.
what? This isn't police issue. Police weapons have bullets. This isn't real. What is this? Police guns have bullets. What is this? Why did you sell me this?
Grab the gun, right now. This might be your only chance.
No one ever cares anymore. Why would they treat me like this?
This limbed and headed machine of pain and undignified suffering is grinding to a halt. Tired of walking the desert, it doesn't want to feel or think anymore.
Poor woman. We need to figure out what to do with her now.
Nobody's ever around. Nobody ever comes to visit me.
Her scratched skin is warm to the touch, but the person inside doesn't even know you're there.
She's in a stupor. I've seen this before. God knows for how long. Could be days when they get like this. Honestly, I don't know. Dementia, probably. Dementia and Channel 8, and loneliness. Could be. Her hands were trembling, and she did seem uncoordinated. But what are we gonna do with her? I don't think there's any need for that. In her current state, and without the gun, she isn't really a threat to anyone. We could let Titus know. This is a perfect problem for the local peacekeepers to handle. They might even know her family. That would just be a waste of paper. I mean, look at her. She's not going to respond to a station slip. Then we can ask him once we get back to the whirling. But we have to hurry, because it's late and they might have already gone home. But I think we are done here for now. Let's head out. This is done.
Please, leave the radio on.
She stands motionless, just a heap of clothes and flashes now. Maybe if you search her once more. The woman stands slumped. She looks catatonic under her mountain of RCM paraphernalia. Is one of those things a police cap? There were narcotics in there too. You're thinking of taking them? Do. The old woman doesn't react to your touch. She doesn't even flinch as you reach out and disentangle the familiar-looking lieutenant's cap from her mountain of RCM paraphernalia.
Oh, is that yours? It's your hat.
You take the vial of Pyrrolidon and the bottle of speed as evidence, obviously.
You're taking those, are you? Sure. I guess that's fine.
An old door worn by element. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. The reeds sway in the coastal breeze. They seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the Cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go. No, you weren't.
The shaggy-haired girl kneels on the sea ice. She looks up as you approach.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the church, I mean. Shoot.
The young man with the tape recorder acknowledges your return. When he looks at you, he squints as though you were the setting sun.
This is hardcore. Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega. Internally coherent. Good morning, yeah! 1, 2, 3, Yakokata, the place to be! Yakokata is a hardcore place!
An intricate system of irrigation networks pockmarking the earth, intermittent seas of phosphorus mud, ripped tarpaulin fluttering in the wind. A pair of molten rubber boots also comes to mind. All in all.
Back to the heavyweight jam! Hardcore! Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega! Internally coherent. All core! All right! Yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
The question is, what is the question? But there was a question?
The cloud. True. Hard. Full. Car. Hardcore. Hardcore to the internally all car.
He furrows his...
Hard.
Is it though?
One mind, one spirit. There's no other world. There's no other life. The cloud. True. Hard. Hardcore. Hardcore to the internally all car.
He furrows.
Hard.
The question is, what is the question? But there was no question.
The cloud. True. Hard. Hardcore. Hardcore to internally all car. All right. You gotta get the people going.
I'm the party boy. It's my job.
Two on a track. Watch your back. Watch. The club. True. Hardcore. Hardcore. Internally coherent. All car. All. Gotta get the people.
Yeah. Request.
The club. True. Hardcore. Yeah.
This young man adds a capital G before the H in his yegs and args. This produces a guttural Gotwaldian accent and makes him sound more animal, more, or maybe it's not Gotwaldian. Maybe it's Oranese. Probably an homage to Oranje, where Arno van Eyck is from, judging by his name. Could you be listening to an Arno van Eyck creation right now?
You know about him?
You know Van Eyck? Wow!
The skinny wraith looks at you with some disbelief.
So am I! So am I!
Oh! Is that why they call you Egghead? Because...
Egghead to the mega! The K became the G! The boy became the man! The Advent?